My name is Ryan. I'm the founder of the Toppin Group, and I have a special guest with me here to talk through the business journey. So I'll just throw it over to you. Introduce yourself.
Thanks, Ryan. My name's Christina Bruce, and I'm the owner and director of a sales training company called Sellabilities.
Thank you for spending a few minutes with me today. So I'm super excited to hear all about Sellabilities and how it started, what the concept was, what you guys have been doing, and then I guess what you're doing now. And obviously moving forward, there's some pretty exciting things happening as well. So let's go all the way back to the start. Give us the rundown. How did this all come about?
Well, if we go all the way back to the start, I got made redundant from a role back 11 years ago now, and I saw that as an opportunity to go and work for myself. So I became a channel partner for another US-based sales training company. So I was kind of selling and facilitating for them here in Australia. And then just before COVID hit, there was kind of a change in their ownership structure, and I saw that as an opportunity to step out of that arrangement and work for myself. And at the time I thought, I've got a young baby, I'll actually have a bit of a break during COVID, but that's not what happened. I had a number of people who contacted me and said, so what are you doing? We've got salespeople sitting at home. Can you help? And of course, I jumped at the chance to do that. And that's really how Sellabilities was born. That was when we created our own intellectual property. And today we've got kind of 5 core programs that we train across typically, your typical sales organisation, so typical sales teams or business development teams. But we do also have a number of professional service clients. So one of our longest clients is actually a group of patent attorneys and lawyers because they, of course, need to sell their professional services. So we've been doing that now for a solid 6 years. And so we're a pretty established, still small, but established company. And then what we've encountered over the last kind of 4 or 5 years is I kept meeting women, or women would get referred to me, who were on their own small business journeys, but they were finding me because they were having trouble selling their services. And so I have found myself in the last couple of years having more and more one-on-one conversations or coffee catch-ups with women who've been introduced to me from other people, just to kind of bounce around some ideas to kind of help them build and grow their business. And often it came down to the selling process and the selling skills that they were using to sell their services. And so off the back of that, we've decided to launch what we're calling the Sellabilities Sisterhood. And that's really trying to bring together a community of female small business owners who have got this need to grow their business, but they've never been taught how to sell. And so our goal in the Sellability Sisterhood is to leverage, the knowledge, the expertise that we've got in the Sellabilities training company and bring that over into the sisterhood to teach these women how to sell.
That's very cool. So you found a niche, I guess, through your general business. You found a niche that you're doubling down on now. Mm-hmm. So if we just look under the hood a little bit, I guess, what are some of the things that you're training, you're teaching on? Show us what's going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. So we're a skills-based company. So really everything we do is how to help people have more effective customer conversations. So I think a lot of people really want to automate the sales journey. They want selling to be easy. They want to be able to sell over email, or they want to be able to email someone a proposal with their pricing and that be enough for, someone to buy their services. But often, depending on what you're selling, depending on how complex it is what you're selling or the value of what you're selling, you typically need to have a conversation with someone. You need to have that human-to-human conversation. And often that's where things break down. And so our area of focus is 100% on the skills and the behavioural competencies you need to have more effective conversations, but all the way through the buying and selling journey, because selling is never just one conversation. The conversation that you have with a prospect in that very first conversation versus the last conversation that you have when you agree to do business together, those conversations are different. Mm. And often people just use the same techniques for both. And so we help people understand that there is a process that you need to take your buyers on and that the skill you use changes as you progress buyers on that journey. So the core thing that we do is just train people on a really simple 4-step conversation framework, because selling is just a conversation. I think sometimes people think there's this magic sorcery involved in selling something, or you're born to be a great salesperson. That's not the case at all. It really is just having a conversation, but a conversation that is meaningful to the buyer and that helps the buyer understand that they've got a problem. And when the buyer has really acute awareness of their problem and why it's problematic if they don't do something about it, it becomes really easy to position your solution. And that's kind of what we do.
That's awesome. I think I've seen salespeople hide behind the screen a lot because maybe there's some limiting beliefs around what if they say no, or like, do I know the product well enough? Or what if they ask me questions? I don't want to look stupid, so I'm just going to send an email. And if they've got any questions, they're going to reply to me. But it really removes any ability, like you said, of having that conversation, like to read body language and to understand what their tone sounds like before and after you talk about prices or features or benefits, to do those little soft closes, to really understand, is this person giving me buying signals? Have I really answered their pain points? Are we talking the same language? And to have that negotiation, which is just another form of a conversation, really. But I've seen it a million times over. And like, you're right, it's skills based, and competence precedes confidence, right? Like, you need to be good at it first.
Yes.
Then you will feel confident to go and deliver it.
Absolutely.
I had to make sure I got it in the right order there,
Yes.
and my brain wasn't working as fast as I wanted it to.
Yes.
And that's why skills-based training is always going to help kind of level people up. So you found the niche. So you found that obviously you were doing like just sales in general. From our previous conversations, it was obviously, quite corporate. Now you're kind of like niching down. So obviously you mentioned that you're having conversations with women that, may have just been subject matter experts or have really good at something, started their own business, and now they realize there's a bit of a bottleneck. They're not 100% sure how to sell.
Correct. Sellabilities, our sales training company, isn't going anywhere. That is still what keeps the doors open, and it's what we love doing. Like, I love working with sales professionals and BD people. I think I'm really good at it, but I actually really love it. It sounds a bit cheesy, but I've always wanted to put the professional into sales professional, because I think a lot of connotations come with this, term selling. And I think a lot of women hate the idea of being salespeople, and they hate the idea of being seen as salesy. It's a little bit, cringeworthy to them, and I absolutely understand that. And so that's why the sisterhood is really an important part of where we want to take the business. It's very values driven for me as a woman who's a small business owner, to kind of help other women in the same situation. And so we're really looking forward to kind of getting started on the journey. And I feel like we're well equipped to do so, because we've got the IP, we've got great programs, but the goal is to support these women with coaching, because anyone can go and do an online program or go to a workshop, but the rubber really hits the road when you're supported after the workshop event or after the training event. And that's what the sisterhood is about. It's about offering people 12 months of coaching if they want it, as little or as much as they want in a 12-month period, so they can spend time with people like me to ask questions, get guidance, use the real life stuff that's going on in their business, and get practical advice and guidance on kind of in the moment. And that's what the sisterhood's going to do. It's going to offer people small group coaching with an expert, riding alongside the stuff they do need to learn in a program.
Yeah, and I definitely don't demonize online programs. Obviously, working in the coaching space, there's a huge push for people to have online, et cetera, et cetera. But a great term that I heard was that a lot of these courses become shelf help, where they buy the program and then it just sits on the shelf. They don't get any practical value out of it, whereas that supported journey, that coaching, it makes a huge difference, because there's accountability as well. You can have a conversation, you can demonstrate the behaviors that you're kind of teaching, et cetera. So it's very exciting. So where is the journey up to at the moment? How can people kind of get on board, get involved?
It's still very early. We've done 2 proof of concept programs, and we learned a lot through that, just in terms of what appeals to people and what doesn't. But essentially the doors are open now. We are in launch phase. You can find us on Instagram. So just search Sellabilities Sisterhood on Instagram. We're kind of building a community there. You can also find us on LinkedIn. So if you search Sellabilities Sisterhood on LinkedIn, you'll find us there. You can, of course, follow me on LinkedIn. So Christina Bruce. We're pretty active on both Instagram and LinkedIn. And at the moment, we're just trying to build trust and credibility with our audience. This is a journey. It does cost to be involved in the sisterhood, but that's because you're getting access to great training and then great coaching and support. But you can learn a lot just by following us, because particularly on Instagram, we are offering up a lot of guidance and advice for free, because we know that we need to build trust and credibility with our audience. First, we need to get positioned with them. And that's kind of, I think, one of the hardest things in getting started is that, helping women understand that this is something that they need to learn in order to be successful, and that accepting that you need to sell is probably the hardest thing for a lot of women to overcome. But once they've kind of accepted that, yep, I can do it, I can learn it, then that's when we're ready to help them. So we're really just getting started with the sisterhood. So the shout out here is really that if you know a female small business owner, if you're listening to this and you are a small business owner, then come and join us on Instagram or LinkedIn, and just join our community to get started. And then when you're ready, we will happily have a conversation with anyone about whether getting more involved in the sisterhood can help them or not.
Very exciting. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to seeing this movement continue to grow, and supporting along the way.
Amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you.